Hello, I'm Britsha, and I'm here to submit Knights Any Percent for SGDQ 2024. I'm the current world record holder for Knights Any Percent, and my commentators are all in the top 10 of Knights Any Percent. And yeah, I'll let them introduce themselves.
Okay, I'll start. I am Poetry Stud. I go by Poetry Stud, and yeah.
Hi, I'm Helios, and I go by Helios.
Hi, I'm Satan isn't herself, and I go by Satan herself.
Okay. And I guess if you
And
just want
yeah,
to get started, Britsha, then yeah.
and yeah, and I'll be mainly focusing on the running, and they'll be taking over most of the commentating. But I'll button whenever there's anything worth sharing. And yeah, hope you enjoy.
Okay.
Approved.
All right, let's do
you're-
a countdown to
Yeah.
Yeah,
We'll
let's
count down.
let's do that
Yeah.
together.
Timing starts on adventure. So
If you want to do this one, Satan.
sure. Let's do it from 3. 3, 2,
2,
1.
1,
One.
go.
Woo!
Woo!
Woo, let's go. Okay, so
Okay.
Knights Any Percent is basically what it sounds like. You start up a new file, and you just try to race through all of the levels as fast as you can. There's 60 levels in this game, and to clear any level, you have to hit all 25 orange pegs in the level. So Britsha's already doing a fantastic job of doing that extremely quickly. You may be hearing some sounds on your end. Don't worry about that. It's actually in service of Britsha faster.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, this is one of the newest strategies. Yeah, Peggle's not too much of a, when it comes to like strategies for speedrunning, it tends to just be go fast. But one of them is a recently discovered if you hold enter, you can save a few frames by basically just shooting on the first available frame on every shot. The problem is in the first level, when it's trying to teach you how to play the game, it gives you this little error noise telling you you only fire one ball at a time. So it kind of spams the noise.
Luckily,
A
we're
little
already
annoying,
past
but
that.
it's
So
essential tech. So
yeah. Very important. But for Britsha, who holds the record in this category, it actually kind of is. You save a lot of frames throughout the run by doing that. So it does matter. Yeah.
there's a lot of the.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, yeah, all the little skips. I say more so in Peggle Deluxe than Peggle Knights. But yeah, any time you can save even a second or two per level, right? Peggle Knights has 60 levels, so if you save a second per level, that's a whole minute on your time right there. So a lot of these small strategies in this game can add up pretty quickly to a much faster time by the end.
Yeah, and a great example is that the holding the enter button, the thing that, again, it saves maybe, a few frames here and there, but that's on, per shot. On an average level, you're going to take maybe anywhere between, 7 and 20 shots, depending on how the level goes. And so that adds up. And over the course of a whole run, any amount helps.
Yeah, and actually that's a good point as to how many shots are you going to be taking per level. Kind of depends on your ability to clear the level in the balls that the game gives you. So the game's going to give you 10 balls to start every single level. Of course, the levels range in difficulty. So there are some levels where you're totally not going to need all 10, it's totally fine. And then there are some where you very much need all 10 and maybe more. The ways that you can get more balls in this game are either landing the ball in the free ball bucket, which is roaming around down there on the bottom of the screen. That gives you 1 ball back, or by earning enough points in a single shot. And points is a little bit complicated in Peggle, but basically the more oranges you hit, hitting the pink peg gives you lots of points.
And yeah, as Satan mentioned earlier, the way you beat a level is by clearing all the oranges. So that's all you need to do, but the problem comes from the fact that, well, a lot of the levels are very difficult, and so you may need to slow down. You might need to earn some free balls back, otherwise you'll fail the level. And if you fail the level, it's not like it ends your run, it's not permadeath or anything, but it's a big time loss. And so in any sort of Peggle category, in any Peggle speedrun, one of the biggest things you can do to improve your time if you're starting out or at a high level as well is to not lose as much because a lot of the levels, especially in Peggle Knights, can be pretty brutally difficult. And
Yeah, it's
Britsha's-
funny 'cause-
yes.
Dude, blasting through there, yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny that Peggle was at its core not really a speedrun game. It's a game designed to get points. So it's kind of cool that in our, as we're developing strategies for playing the game, it's like, oh, we can actually use the built-in like mechanics for how the game is supposed to be played to play it like how it's not supposed to be played.
Yeah, the whole
Things
thing.
like the whole text, like the multiplier and everything that we haven't gone over yet. That just again, little things build up.
I think it's a good time to go over the multiplier, actually, if Satan, you want to. I know you like talking about the multiplier.
Of course. Well, the multiplier is a very iconic feature of a Peggle speedrun. And basically, if you look at the right side of your screen, you're going to see something called the fever meter. And it's got those little orange segments on it. And one of those orange segments goes up every time you hit an orange peg. So if you hit enough oranges, you're going to light up those times 2, times 3, times 5, and times 10. And that multiplies every point you get of pegs. So you're going to get points for every peg you hit, and it'll multiply that value by those values there. And oranges are worth a modest amount of points. They're worth 100 points at base. But the pink or purple, whichever you like, is worth a lot. It's worth 500 at base. And you need 25,000 to get a free ball points, just like Britsha was doing right there. So you can imagine how that times 10 is going to really, really help you out there. So sometimes runners will get a lot of oranges at the beginning and save big clumps of maybe some oranges and some blues later so that they can get...
Yep. Yeah, sometimes even leaving very easy to get oranges that you can get right from the start. Sometimes leaving those specifically for that purpose as a kind of safety net, where if you are towards the end of the level, you might have hard ones to hit. But if you save some easy ones, you might be able to get some pretty easy shots. Very likely to earn balls back. So there's a lot of kind of, I guess, more abstract strategies that are going to depend on the specific level. Which I guess is also, that's also a good time to point out that the layouts are the same every time in terms of where all the pegs are, the patterns that the movements that we have on this level. Those are always the same, but which ones are orange or green change every play generation of the you see, and the purple always in each shot. So what is normally blue.
So that's kind of where the improvisation of this run comes through. This is not a fixed run. Like, Britsha's not executing a series of shots that's going to clear the level every time. They're executing some shots that are predetermined. Yeah, we can
like
talk about openers.
Here.
But, yeah, it's not going to be the same every time.
Yeah, so like this level's a good example for that. Is those couple shots that Britsha did at the beginning there? They were pixel shots. Well, the nice thing about Peggle is that being an older game, the background's very pixelated, and so you can actually see both on the pegs and the background art itself the individual pixels. And because this game is deterministic, it's just pachinko at its core. If you aim at the same spot every time, you can get the same shot every time. As we were saying, that can vary what the outcome is because different oranges, the green might be in the way and change your power. But the shot itself will do the same thing every time. So those openers, as we call them, are shots you can do at the beginning of each level to get a predetermined outcome. You say, well, I may not get all the oranges in this shot, but it will open up this part of the level I know is part of the reach, and so on. So there's different variants of that. I'm a proponent of the pixel shots. Poetry is more of the tap shots. There's a lot of different ways to do these kind of openers to the levels. Again, just because this game is deterministic. So yeah, it's both very RNG and, ways to get through it the same way every time.
Yeah, and I do want to point out just real quick, just one element that we haven't really spoken about is the Peggle masters themselves, which if you've ever played Peggle like casually, yeah, we're about to leave Jimmy here, but so far we've seen Bjorn, the unicorn, who gives a extra bit of aiming line power that helps line up shots. Jimmy, who we just had, who when you hit the green, it activates a multi-ball ability. And now we're on to Renfield. And worth pointing out that, yeah, in any percent to what separates any percent from a lot of other runs is that because it's the first playthrough on a new save file, as a result, you are going through in order, getting introduced to all the characters in a specific order, and that really does determine how you kind of that has a big impact on how some of the levels play out, because each master has very different powers. So, for instance,
That's
here,
kind of funny. It's not like okay.
I was going to say that, for instance, here, Britsha didn't even care about getting the greens at all, and the reason why is because the greens for Renfield's power, in general, is not very good in this game. It's probably most people I think would say it's the worst one in this game, or
That's
at least.
close.
Yeah, at least it's close with a couple of the other bad ones that we'll also see soon. But yeah, I guess I don't know if you guys have anything to add about the master powers or anything like that we forgot.
Yeah, it's one of those weird things where when we talk about something being bad, right? It's not that it's a bad character or anything. It's just casually. I mean, obviously we enjoy the game. It's fun to play. It's fantastic power, and the powers themselves are really cool. But in terms of speedrunning, as we can see here, especially with Renfield in particular, and in Knights in particular, he's a little bit different than in Deluxe. Which we can talk about that. We've actually done some science into that.
Yeah.
So Renfield's power cycles the ball through the map once again, which can be good for hitting more pegs on its second route without losing a ball. But the problem is if it gets stuck, if it bounces for a long time, you can lose upwards of 30 plus seconds easily on a level by just hitting the green. So oftentimes if you are able to either avoid the green, if you know you can play the level yourself without it, then it's often more advantageous to do that because you're not wasting the time just sitting there.
Mm-hmm.
Which Cat Tut, who we'll see here in a few minutes, is kind of similar. Just will often waste more time than it is worth getting the power for it.
Yeah.
Not to say they can't be good and helpful, but sometimes it's nice to have the control rather than the sitting and waiting.
Yeah. Also, I had a technical issue. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes.
Good.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, and the reason that Renfield is specifically worse in Knights than he is in Deluxe is because Deluxe Renfield has a little bit of Zen in him. So Zen is a mechanic in Peggle that makes it so that the game can adjust your shot into a shot that's closer, or that's close to where you originally had it, based on it actually getting more points for you. So there's a whole Peggle master that we'll see later in the game based around this mechanic. But Renfield in Deluxe had a little bit of Zen when the shot comes down off of the screen. We have empirically tested that. It's true. And then in this game, he doesn't at all. None. Zero.
And there's a few differences like that between characters that we'll mention as they come up. But it is definitely interesting how something that is fine in a casual playthrough, it can lose a lot of time. It can literally make the speedrun worse in some cases with some of the masters.
So this is why you'll see in a run like an NG Plus run where you can pick any of the masters, you will almost never see Renfield picked.
Yeah.
You would
because
never
if you're going
for I don't know.
Yeah, you would. Well, I don't know. You can pick any character, so
that's true. Maybe a Helix, Deluxe show off.
yeah.
But yeah, I guess Britsha, I know we've been kind of talking and you've been focusing in. Anything you want to say right now? Or are you just working your way through it?
One interesting thing about Renfield is
I think he's doing the Peggle magic right now.
Yeah.
I think it's alright.
Yeah, so this is an example of where we saw that shot.
Oh, I think
side
they're
at
in the
the
short little second here.
Yeah, mine too.
Yeah, no, that's
Audio.
Okay, so it might be on Britsha's.
It's good on the stream though. It's so we're good.
Yeah, it's fine.
I can't talk to them now.
Oh, wait, now we can hear you. Or
Audio? Oh.
Yep, now we can hear you. We're good.
Okay.
Britsha.
Sorry, my mic has problems, but anyway.
Yeah. No problem.
Hi.
how you
Well,
feeling?
I was gonna say, interesting thing about the Renfield thing is that, because we know that he isn't influenced by Zen or anything, it actually makes it so since I've run a lot of Knights any percent, I know what he's actually gonna do after if a green is on the opener, so I don't actually some people would reset if they had a green on the opener, but I know there's levels where him on the opener doesn't really affect the speed of it. There's stuff like that is good to know.
Probably, I think, is the best one for that.
Mhm.
I do that too.
3-2 is actually quite good if you get the green.
Oh yeah, no, 3-2 is great. Yep, I know that one.
Okay. Yeah, and I guess it is worth pointing out. Well, we said this at the start of the run, but Britsha is the current world record holder and did a big grind a little bit ago. About a month ago now or something? A couple months
Yeah.
ago?
A couple weeks.
Or-
Yeah.
A month
Yeah.
at this point.
Yeah, so not too far back, but Britsha has been playing the game for a long time and was at the top, like I think top 3, or at least top 5. I think you were top 3 for like a good couple of years or something like that, or a year and a half or something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
I think it would be, I think that kind of shows you also how, rigorous and competitive this game is.
Yeah.
All the Peggle games, but especially Peggle Deluxe and Knights have really been, played to death, for lack of a better term. People have found a ton of strategies for this game, have played it so much to optimize times, but the best thing about Peggle is that you're never really done. Because there's randomness, in the run, and also because new strats can always be found. The game is always evolving. So Britsha set this world record about a month ago, and it's a little bit faster, than the previous runner, but there's still plenty of time to save, just overall, in any Peggle game. So
Yeah,
pretty cool stuff.
it's kind of hard to even really figure out what the limit might be for any of the Peggle games, because at a certain point you are relying a little bit on the RNG of just how the level generates. But then, of course, even if you get good generation, you have to execute well, you have to play well, and there's a good mix of that where to the point where it's kind of impossible to really just pin down a number for what is the limit of Peggle.
You could get 45 minutes if all of the oranges spawned correctly.
Yeah, that's kind of a meme in the community. Just get good generation.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Sub 50 easy.
Yeah. So
we can do some, like, we have so individual levels are another shorter category people run, and the Poetry actually threw together a compilation of this to kind of, or what'd you call it? Is like the community,
like a human sum of
or
best,
something?
basically.
Yeah, human sum of best. So like that's also a few months old at this point, and we've
About
individual
a year, actually,
levels are kind of a silly. Oh my god, it's been a year.
Yeah.
The individual level records are kind of silly because people don't usually grind them. It's more of like when you play the game, because it's so random, you're just kind of like, oh, that was fast. Let me double check the records. Oops, I got it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and
I believe it was 34 minutes for
less than
Peggle
that.
Deluxe. That was for
Yeah,
Peggle
was-
Deluxe.
something like
It was
that.
about
Which has
28.
5 fewer levels than
28.
this and is genuinely faster than this game.
Yeah,
For
and
multiple reasons.
yeah, it was 28 minutes for that, by the way. But
Wow.
I haven't done that for Peggle Knights. I might do it at some point.
I
But
think we should. We've
That
had a
would
lot
be
of
cool.
improvement in
Yeah.
the time.
yeah,
For
the
sure. That's
yeah.
a good idea.
it's just a
Yeah,
good
well,
example though
records-
that like the actual record in Peggle Deluxe is much higher than that, and so there's like 20 minutes to shave off before it's anywhere close to that. But again, that's
And the record's basically superhuman for that game at this point.
yeah,
Like,
and I
it's
think
crazy.
yeah, it's honestly but it's also impressive, I think, how much this game has come, especially recently. This game again is as Satan has mentioned, it is a few levels longer. It's 5 levels longer than Peggle Deluxe. So, right, Peggle
Huge
Deluxe
save by
is
Britsha, by the way.
That was
over
great.
Yeah, that was
on
good.
the screen.
yeah.
Laugh at the audience.
Yeah, Peggle Deluxe's any percent time is 48 minutes flat, and in this one it's 56 minutes. We can see Britsha's actually running against his PB, the current world record, and the thing is that is like a little bit behind, but again, there's 5 extra levels, and not only that, but they are a lot of the extra. Well, I would say as a whole, the levels in this game are just much more deadly. You lose a lot more runs. You lose a lot more of the levels in general, and so in
And you
my
lose a lot
opinion,
more time. There's a lot of them that just take longer to complete, even if you're doing it optimally.
Like this one.
3-4 takes over a minute most of the time. Even if you're doing it well.
This level just one of the big differences is that there's a lot of the moving pegs, especially in the later Nights levels. There's a lot of like very slow moving ones. Like these are pretty fast moving ones here. You see, But the Knights levels designs are typically they're trickier to speedrun because you either can't strategize as much due to how dynamic the level is, or it's just there's more pegs, it's just harder. There's also less people have played Knights. So it's like, as we were talking about how a lot of strategies end up happening because you get a good random shot and you go, oh, this was interesting. Let me see if I can recreate it. We just haven't had enough manpower attacking Knights yet.
Because of that today.
Yeah.
Literally today.
And the
I did a shot on stream and Britsha was like, is that a strat?
yeah. Okay. So yeah, real quick, we are on to the Splork levels. We didn't really mention Cat, but Cat Tut's power is what we had on the previous 5 levels. And
He's
Splork
a bit of a
now,
hindrance to speedrunning anyway.
Yeah. Splork here is one of the first masters where Splork's ability is actually pretty good. It's the first master I would say that's good, really, out of ones we've seen so far.
I'd argue Bjorn, but
yeah.
Says the human Bjorn man. Yeah.
Everyone in the community has their own preferences for which master they think is best and everything. So we have Bjorn's ability, Splork's ability that we've seen already here, and we're going to see more of in the next levels, is that he blows up all the pegs in an area around where the green is. And so Britsha has been saving that green and just popped it, partially because it was just blocking the way, but also because the purple ended up spawning there for that shot, making it so he could get an easy free ball and have a little bit of leeway.
Yeah, Splork is definitely the first sort of solid master. You would see Splork in NG+, which is the category where you can go through all of these levels in the same order, but you can choose any master power for any of them, which is a pretty popular category as well. And it's basically just because of exactly those two things Poetry said. Clears a lot of pegs, you can get multiplier shots. Very good.
It's like that green on the right there is probably, it's good to save, but it's still kind of buried, so it's a little weird. But you can see how much faster we are shredding these levels. They're just as oh man.
That almost stumped out right there, yeah.
Yeah, just as complex as the levels beforehand, but due to the more efficient power. We're already 3 levels in. We just started talking.
And this
is an early reset for a better opener.
Yeah, that's another thing we should talk about. You can actually tactically reset in this game, and you would see there that, if you watched it back, of course, that all of the oranges went into new positions, and so did the greens. So, especially if you have a power like Splork's, which is very green position dependent, you might do that tactically. So Britsha's saving that green for a free ball here. Unfortunately, it didn't quite work out like he wanted it to. But, you know, there's a lot of strategy in this game as well as just pure skill.
Ooh, a little bit of a tight situation here. Let's see. So Britsha is looking for a shot. Ends up lining up. Oh, and just barely missing the bucket or a free ball. That's how this level's pretty tough. It might be a little deceptive, but all the moving pegs make it quite tough, actually.
Yeah, and now is the time to talk about losses. So losses are quite common in this run and in this game. Even if you're playing NG+, even if you're playing at literally the highest level you can, which Britsha is the world record holder, so they are, you will still lose. Most of the time. If you just boot up a run, no matter what skill level, on average, you're going to have at least one loss in the run. It's very rare, even for the top runners. If you just do a no reset run, it's very rare to have it completely work out without any losses. And so that's why playing just practicing, getting better at the core ability of just playing the game normally, just getting better at the core aspects of it is the most important thing you can do.
It's a game where that strategy of playing with what you have is how you beat it, as opposed to doing the same thing every time.
Yeah. Also, Britsha just executed a really, really nice
that was a good one.
opener sequence that they created recently, actually. That's a Britsha.
Britsha certified. World record holder certified strategist.
And you can see here, though, that Britsha didn't hit either of the greens because they are just way out of the way. And so you may say, well, why didn't Britsha reset the level for better greens? Well, it's because that last level is kind of regarded as one of the easiest, at least in this part of the mid game. And so generally, especially with those sequence of openers there, Britsha knew that it was just not necessary at all, and would it just
this is a really important opener here. and that green was just barely out of the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Britsha is doing that to increase his multiplier to try to get a free ball from this, which did
Exactly. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the
Because
multiplier.
1 times is very different from 2 times when you're trying to get to 25,000.
Exactly.
It's also because that strat you can only line up with a peg that disappears on the opener.
Yeah.
Yeah, opener sequences. That's all. That's kind of plays into the randomness of it. Is sometimes you'll have a really good shot, and you're like, "Oh, I want to recreate this," but you're like 5 shots into the level, and it's just like completely random, like placement that you can't work with. It's very sad.
Also, it's time to find our French
for the
friend coming up here.
Yeah, we're-
Claude.
Claude the
Claude
monster,
Levels are here. Yeah.
who in this game is characterized as a kaiju.
Yes, that's his
Spoiler
dream.
alert.
By the way, we should actually talk about what Peggle Knights is kind of about.
Yeah, it's
So
The lore,
it's-
the Peggle
yeah.
lore.
The
Yeah.
Peggle lore. Yep. It's kind of it's a silly premise, but all of the Peggle masters have had a nap, and they've dreamed up their most fantastical dream, what they would be if they weren't a world-renowned famous Peggle master. And yeah, Claude's a kaiju. He just wants to get super huge. So we'll see that play out in the background elements throughout the level. But yeah, silly stuff.
So, yeah,
That's definitely one of the
Redfield
nice
was like
things
an
about,
artist. Jorn is a crime fighter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cat goes to the circus. They're great.
And
Super
Peggle
fun.
Knights is great with its level backgrounds. It's just it does add to the speed, right? Gives a little bit of charm.
Yeah, I will say, everyone knows I prefer deluxe for speedrunning. I feel a lot of people do. But yeah, I think that Knights is actually the better of the 2 games for a casual player, just because it does have a lot more like theming to it. The background designs are great, the levels are great, new character and everything.
Not to mention it has easy to implement level packs, which is something that I think is fun to mention. Is
Doesn't
that
have
Peggle? Yeah, that's true. But Peggle Knights has a level pack system where you can actually download like level packs that people make, and our community recently has been kind of going through a bit of a renaissance with that, where I believe it's just the
Also,
creator of
Britsha's flaming
Destroying
through this.
it. Yeah.
This
It's
level is
an
like one of the most
incredibly
difficult
fast
ones.
clear of 6-2.
yeah saved
Is
about
that a gold?
I know.
Aside from Fever.
Well, let's
Also,
see.
Fever, by the way. So after you hit the last peg, you get that little extreme Fever, which is very cool. And everybody loves it, except for speedrunners, because you can bounce around on those little bumpers between the buckets at the bottom of the screen forever. So one of the ways to save time is to try to aim your shot directly into one of those buckets, or at least close to one, so where you think it'll go down pretty quickly.
And this level, I will point out, is regarded as one of the most difficult in the mid game here. It can be a little brutal because of all the moving pegs and also all these oranges that we can see buried away at the bottom, where it's not the easiest thing to get to all of them.
Yeah, Eiffel Tower is hard.
Yeah,
Sure.
and Claude is terrorizing the citizens of Paris in the background, stealing the Eiffel Tower, and just like this level terrorizes Peggle players.
Exactly. We feel the
Okay.
same.
Either way, though,
Yeah, this is
Britsha
a
does have an
level
opening.
where the
A little tight.
classic
but-
bucket, the rim bounce. Oh, not again.
Okay,
Perfect.
there you go.
Okay, came back.
All right.
Yeah,
Woo! Eiffel Tower.
yeah.
Got my bucket
That
luck.
one's definitely can be a little nerve-wracking. So
Yeah. That's one of the best things about live Peggle runs, though. You are going to see just some amazing saves.
mhm.
Amazing
It's a
level
different
clears.
run
You
every
can go
time.
from 6-2, super fast, extremely efficient, to 6-3, saving it, doing it well.
Yeah.
It's always going to be different. Also, this is a really nice opener sequence as well.
Hi, Pixel.
Mhm.
Yay.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's you're never safe in a Peggle stream run. It's like
No.
even if you can have like
Never.
you get into like your little flow states, your little momentums, where like you'll have like just a killer run going, and then you'll just get a completely like one level goes bad, and you're like, oh, okay, there goes the momentum. And it can be like the last level. Like I know that in Deluxe, there's the 55 levels. A level 54 often trips me up, like right at the very end.
Yeah.
So it's like I said, you're never safe until it's over in this game.
Yeah, that doesn't mean that you can't
Which is
get
really funny to
pretty
talk about with
consistent
Peggle.
times at high levels,
but-
because a lot of RNG kind of, flattens out over many runs. But yeah, for sure. In any individual run, you are never safe. It's not over till it's over.
And so far, though, Britsha has been making it through. We had the one loss so far, but that is other than that, it's been pretty clean run so far.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
good.
what's our time at?
Very good
I'm
pace.
watching the Discord one.
Same.
Sorry, you asked what my time was?
28:58 right now. Yeah.
Nice.
So sub 30 going into Tula.
Yeah.
So when
Pretty
you
good.
think about the pace, that's 6 times 5. I'm a math major. 30 levels. Yeah, so we're playing at just under a minute every level on average. Which if you think about it,
It's
if you have
really
60
quite
levels,
good in Peggle Knights, especially with velocity.
yeah,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that's
nice. Take the bucket.
And that's the thing, is that in general, that's kind of that, like the average amount of time you're going to take at a level, we kind of, as a rule of thumb, you can say is around a minute. But that makes it sound a lot easier than it really is to get like an hour run in a 60 level game. It sounds like it would be around like average, but no, there are, I believe, 4 people on the
There are only-
leaderboards, right, who have the sub hour.
Yeah,
4 total.
because I'm 5th with a 101, so
Yeah.
I'm not there yet.
So there's
It's
only
very
a
difficult.
you can count on one hand the amount of people who have gotten sub hour in this category. And it's because, well, again, the levels are so difficult, and especially as we get towards the late game, there's a veritable gauntlet of difficult levels.
And if you lose one level, that's plus 1 minute to your time. So
Yeah, at least.
if you
so.
want to get,
Yeah,
the problem is once you
sometimes
get to this point, you have to not only play fast, but I mean, yeah, it sounds funny, just don't lose to win, right? But you can lose in a Peggle speedrun and just keep going. But if you want to get that like perfect no fail run for a good time, it's difficult to keep that stamina up for an hour minimum, let alone the emotional. Oh no, I just lost a level. I have to keep going.
Yeah, the shift in momentum, like you were saying. And I guess we should mention that we are on one of the characters who generally has the most momentum in the game, which is Tula. Tula is, personally, I say that she's the best character in this game.
I agree.
Got buffed from Deluxe, which makes it even better.
Exactly.
Huge
Yeah.
buff. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Best thing Knights ever did.
yeah, true. And I guess I can explain that real quick.
Oh man, all the
Nice beauty.
In both games, Tula works pretty much the same, which is that she clears a portion of the remaining pegs, around 20% of the remaining orange
20%,
pegs, by distance, starting with the closest ones. So the difference is that in Peggle Deluxe, once you got down to a low number of pegs, she would only hit a minimum of 1. So if you had like 4 orange pegs left, she would still hit 1 if you hit the green, like she would pop 1 of the orange pegs, but only 1. In this game, it actually, I guess it's not really rounding it up, but it has a minimum, which is that if you hit the green, no matter where you're at in the level, even if there's only 2 oranges left, it will always hit at least 2 oranges. And so that sounds pretty minor, right? But it actually is a very big buff. Because what it means is that you can leave Tula's greens, or at least one of them, till the end of the level, if it's in an easy spot to hit. And if there's a few oranges tucked away, buried away, well, then you don't need to worry about them. And you could do that same thing in Deluxe, but in this game, you can do that with multiple pegs that are buried away. And so it saves a lot of time.
Yeah, it doesn't just save a lot of time because you can kind of take easier shots to get there already, but it saves a lot of time just because of the economy. Think of you save at least 1 shot, for that
exactly.
every time you use Tula. And in categories like NG+, you're going to be using Tula a lot. That is a huge amount of time save.
Okay.
Yeah, when you think about,
slide there, and now
if you're having trouble getting the free balls, that's 1 less shot you have to worry about. So.
Yep, and
Adds
now
up
Britsha
quickly.
only needs to clean up 1 of those pegs,
Exactly.
which it would have taken a very long time to get those because they're very
they
awkward.
would bounce around and everything, yeah.
Yeah, no fun. But hey, just a green. Very nice.
And it is reflected
Already on the
in
last
fact-
level of Tula.
Exactly. I was gonna say we're already at the end of Tula's levels, but this will not be Tula's last appearance in the run. We'll spoil it for now, but
Also, I just want to say, since this is a GDQ submission, there's plenty of time in this run for donations, for announcements, all sorts of stuff. Especially around the mid game, though. Here, with I would say Claude's levels are maybe the best time, but you know, Tula's are fine. This next one, Cinders are totally fine. You know,
because Cinder levels we're just gonna burn through. Literally, that pun not intended. We're just gonna burn through them. So the more stressful nail biters will be towards the end. Yeah, good clear.
Yeah, and then we need to explain, of course, the basic mechanics at the very beginning. So in the middle of the game, yeah, that's gonna be the easiest here. So yeah, Inferno 8-1 here really shows you what Cinder's power is all about. So you see that sort of gigantic circle of pegs over there? You go, oh my gosh, how do you complete that? You know, with 10 balls, that's way too much. But Cinder's power is going to...
Britsha was purposely leaving this shot he's about to do, though, by because he was trying to get the multiplier again. Because now, when you do that shot, he almost got all 3 possible balls to earn from points back. And he did get 2 and obviously cleared a huge swath of the level. And now it's pretty much free.
Nice.
So it's definitely one of those levels that looks intimidating, but once you kind of know the strats and everything, one of the easiest to get through.
Yeah, if you're using Cinder. There are categories where you
that's true.
to be using Cinder.
That makes Deluxe is pretty similar. Yeah, you'll find that like a lot of levels are, you can tell when levels are designed for a certain master. Like that past one was definitely a Cinder level, which makes running someone like Cat Tut really difficult on it. But other levels, like Claude's levels, like it's not that they're like not made for Claude. It's just that his power is not as good as other people's powers. So like Eiffel Power, for example, was a level where someone like Marina, spoiler alert, is later, or Cinder excels at compared to the base master's power, just by pure level design, not even just speed. So that's part of the strategy that goes into other runs, whereas any percent you're locked into these choices, kind of have to play around that.
Yeah. Yeah, there are other runs where you're either using one master throughout the entire thing, or you're using a random master every level. I did that today and got a 5th place run in that. That was... But I got Claude, I think, at least 11 times. So
yeah, that was an absurd run. The RNG in this game is a fickle beast with a good
Oh, yeah. Yes, it's very funny. Yeah, thanks.
We've all been there.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is honestly one of the levels that doesn't work super well with Cinder, honestly. Just but well, I don't know. Cinder's still definitely considered one of the best, so it's not like he's ever bad. Just some levels are better than others.
You can see that line off the wall
shot. Yeah.
Exactly.
Go ahead and explain.
A little awkward. I'm trying to clear everything there, where it got something, but it was like,
You want to explain what that is?
Most permanent better. Still destroyed.
It's gold.
Oh, nice.
Oh, wow. Excellent.
Okay.
Glad.
This is actually a good example of a level where the smoke coming out of Cinderbottom's mouth is a blocker, an obstacle that you can't shoot through. So we have to find another way to hit those on the side, and Britsha uses a very specific angle to bounce over there. And he does have another shot now that, see?
Tap shot.
Yeah, it's a tap shot that consistently grabs a bunch of the pegs there, leaving only that one in this case, and now the rest of the level, piece of cake.
Quick shot. Put that in the compilation. Yeah, that's another thing is a lot of this, we were talking about like how strategies come about. So for those of you who back in the earlier days of the internet remember that like older YouTube had a lot of like Peggle trick shot compilations, there have actually been a good bit of shots that we've just gone back, we've watched those for fun, and like, wait a minute, that shot looks recreatable.
Yeah.
And we've actually found, I know more so in Deluxe we've done this, I'm not too sure about Knights, I'm not the expert on Knights here, but we've found shots from like a decade ago that someone just posted because, hey, this looked cool. And I'm like, wait a minute, that's actually really good for speedrunning.
Yeah, it's interesting, all the tech. And I also think that, in Deluxe we have this thing called the heat maps, where a community member, Smiling Marks, went through and basically set up a program that basically found a bunch of optimal lines for opening up a level I don't believe that we have that for this game yet, right? So
Oh, we have
No,
not. We're
we
still
do
bugging
not.
them. This is
So-
this is our call. Bugging
if
them
that
again.
happens, this game might see its own revolution
Yeah.
for that, for finding new pixel shots.
Although
right now,
I would say that Knights is designed with a little bit of a different philosophy in mind. So
yeah,
yes,
definitely.
that would certainly happen. But in Deluxe, there are a lot of structures that lean well into like big slides and stuff like that. You know, and if you can find the right setup shot, you can do that almost any time. But Knights is a little bit different. Knights kind of wants you to do a lot of different things all the time, and a lot of the structures aren't really, you know, as conducive to that. So it'd be a little bit less intuitive.
They're designed for fun, not speed.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's,
Speaking
again, it's a
of-
points-based game.
Speaking of fun and not speed,
Oh,
we have
here
our
we
new. We're
Okay.
actually already on to our next Peggle Master, which is Warren the Rabbit, the infamous magic hat. And his ability is one of pure chance, where when you hit the green, as we might see here in a moment, or if not here, then the next level, where when you hit the green, you have a chance for a few different things to happen. There's a 50% chance of getting the magic hat ability, which increases the hitbox of your shot.
Deluxe, which only has 25%
Yeah,
chance.
it's a good ability. It's definitely not bad. There's a
I've been quite
25% chance
lucky.
that
I got hit
Yeah.
all 3 times.
yeah, and there's a
I got triple
25%.
scores so
Ooh.
many times today.
Yeah.
And also
Yeah,
to
there's a,
show how
uh,
powerful it is, I golded on 9-1 because of getting
Yeah,
magic
no,
hat
that was
twice.
excellent. Another
Oh.
hat. Let's go.
Yeah, this luck
The
is
hat.
crazy.
Actually,
The hat
so good.
It's being
Like, no joke.
very, very dapper.
Yeah, it increases the
And-
hitbox of the ball, by the way, so that's why it's so good.
Yeah, that's another
Oh
hat.
my god. Jeez.
So at this point,
Save some of this luck for the real run.
okay. This level is definitely one where, depending on how it goes, it can be either a little tricky, pretty easy. Luckily, it's worked out pretty well here.
Yeah, but this is one of I think my favorite levels of Knights, just because it's a very, it's not you don't have to like turn your brain off. Don't think it's still a very complex level, but it's got a lot of the dopamine cool slide whee, that Peggle
Yeah.
was famously known for, compared to this level, which I hate.
Yeah.
This has
Yeah,
ended
but
so many of my runs.
You can also get a 25% chance of triple score, which, well,
Mhm.
triples your score.
More
at
if
the
you're
end of the shot. Yep. Oh, nice, a triple score. A level where a magic hat would
I
be
love-
incredibly helpful. Yes. And there's also a 25% chance to get a random other master's power.
Mhm.
So if you see like Cat Tut's ball bucket or Claude's flippers, don't be alarmed. They're kind of supposed to be there.
Mhm.
Hey, Papas, we got different powers.
Okay.
Yeah, this is one of the more. This is where
This
the
is a tricky
difficulty
one.
ramp sort of begins.
Yeah,
And it's
Pretty
not like it already
sharply.
had begun. Like this game's early game is brutal, especially
Yeah.
compared to Peggle Deluxe.
but
it's
especially
funny when you
starting
have-
with this point, we're gonna start seeing some really, really difficult levels.
This is the strat. This is the one where Britsha invented a new strat today. See if
I probably won't
they...
get
Haven't
it.
seen it
Oh, I
yet.
got it. There you go.
Got it.
Nice.
Very nice.
Nice. Yeah. And
Evidence.
so instantly kind of opening up the slides there. This level still can be a little tricky. Lots of stuff
Oh, we
just
get another
buried.
shot at Bjorn's power, who we didn't
Oh, yeah.
actually get to talk about.
Okay, and so the rest of these are okay. Also another opener there, I believe. And now once you have Bjorn's power, specifically, it does kind of mess up some stuff, but luckily it's going all right here.
Yeah, Bjorn's power, of course, is Super Guide, which lets you see that second bounce off of the first peg. Britsha isn't going to use it a ton here anymore, because there's not a ton of shots where it would be all that useful. But yeah, it's fun.
So bit of a tough situation. Well, okay, now it's actually okay because he got that free ball, and now it's totally fine. So there were four oranges left, 4
Good
balls,
stuff.
but now it's totally good. And now we're moving on
Very
to now the kind of real
Well-
gauntlet begins.
The last
about-
15.
Yeah, we have 15 levels left. And this is where they really start to ramp up in difficulty. Starting with this one right away, which you kind of probably already tell why. There's lots of stuff buried away at the bottom. There is lots of movers, also just lots of bricks and brick setups that are blocking even just the middle parts on the side of the level. Like, it's not just the bottom that's buried away. Everything is kind of buried away.
This one of the levels I struggle the most
This is one
on.
that's even harder than it
Yeah.
looks. Yep. It looks hard and it's really hard.
Yeah,
And,
Britsha's made this look easy, despite
Yeah,
all that.
Who? So Master Who is the master here, the owl, and Britsha is waiting to use his ability till now because his shot, Master Who's shot, is that he takes the place you aim at, checks within a certain variance of there, and tries to find the shot that will earn you the most points. And although we don't really care about points, just from an overall speedrun perspective. Oranges are worth more points, and so generally it will still hit more oranges. Also, the reason, again, that he waited is because with the multiplier up, there's a much better chance that Who would just completely crush it, get a bunch of balls back, and make the rest of the level totally safe.
Yeah.
Like
and,
here, that was.
Yeah.
That was a very nice
See,
story,
I
yeah.
didn't think Who would do that because Who likes this is I'm not Who's biggest fan here compared to other people because what Who can also do is he likes the points. So that purple peg is worth far more points. So oftentimes
Yeah,
if,
he's very
it's
into
kind of it's a blessing and a curse. Like if you save Who for the very end, sometimes he will just avoid all the oranges, get the purple, and be done. And then
So
you're
what we
stuck
might
with
see
no
here
free
from
ball.
that level's done. All right.
That was
all
a
right.
10-second gold.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
Beautiful.
Yeah, that
Wow.
is
And you just
great.
got a gold
These
last
the run, man. What
on that
Yeah.
level. My goodness.
Yeah. This
But
is
yeah. So what you
Who's
might
power
see
is
from
very
runners.
fickle.
Yeah, what you might see from runners, in terms of strategy for this particular master, is you might see them aim near where the purple actually is. That Who doesn't have a very hard time finding the purple. He will often go out of his way to get the purple.
Yeah.
So if he's already got the purple, he goes, okay,
dangle
I
the
might add
carrot.
on a couple oranges. Yeah, exactly.
You gotta
I feel like
Sometimes it's good like that. Sometimes where the purple is like completely out the way, but there's like a big clump of orange, so then the orange is like more value down there. So that's why I went for that there.
You gotta kind of trick Who into giving you what you want.
Or if the purple spawns like behind something you know you can't get over there. Now I say that as if he hasn't.
Sometimes
done
he'll
that.
pull.
Done it
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah.
We've
Sometimes
modded the
he'll pull some
game
crazy
before
shots.
to do runs where it's like you can't hit the purple or it resets the run. And I remember one of the levels, the purple's in a spot where I was like, Who definitely can't hit this? And then he found a way.
He finds a way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And so this level can be tricky depending on how it goes. But the next level, I'll just give a heads up now. The next level is one of the most difficult in the game.
Which is funny because it's also 10-5. Just 10-5 in general in both games
Yeah.
is notorious for a run killer.
The Zen frog in.
Yeah.
Yep. One of the most difficult. For
Yeah, so
sure.
this is the level when you look at this and you think about like Who's power to like find the shots. Like in early Who, there's so many things that are blocked behind these like horizontal, vertically stacked bricks. And it's not really like made well for Who to hit a lot of things early on. So this is a level where someone like Cinder, like this is like to me this is like a Cinder level design where you have a lot of things that are blocked, you gotta burn through them, which is part of what makes Knights 90% so difficult is having to strategize around, even though you're given this master, it actually really is not the most optimal one, and makes for
I think we lost our mic again, so Britsha's gonna pause just for a second to fix that.
Is the audio okay now?
Yeah, now we got you.
Yeah, we can hear ya.
I'm sorry about the audio.
happens.
And it's
But yeah, so you can see all these movers here. That's really, really tricky. Not only because it's just hard to know what your shot's going to do, but also if you're down to only a couple of balls, like Britsha in the past, and a couple times during this run, has used some of those pegs that are left over to get free balls. We call that free balling. It's actually a very important strategy.
Like
But
Tom
it
Petty once.
mostly works with static pegs. You can do it off of moving pegs, but it's much, much, much more difficult. So it's much harder to save this level when it's not going well.
this is
than lots of other
and this is a
Or you
little
just beat
tight.
Britsha and just, the luck.
This is a little tight right now, but Britsha is getting some insane lucky bounces. Luckily,
Here's
these
those
ones
free
are
balls.
clustered, and now he's in an okay spot, although it's still not done. That one in
Yeah,
the...
especially because that buried one. Yeah.
Exactly, that one is buried.
That looks like
There
a
are also
sucker bounce
some
to me.
static free balls that are harder
Ooh.
to achieve.
These angles, killer.
Okay, let's
Really
see.
tough. Really, really hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know
Yeah,
what I
those
would have done
angles.
there.
Okay,
That,
yeah.
that
The
was
subtle
yeah.
angle changes are so difficult.
And this
If
is
I-
Mess with your head.
Yeah, if I was concentrating during that, I would have saved the green still later. Is unfortunately I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah,
No,
audio,
it happens.
Mic problem.
sabotage. Yeah.
Yeah, but if there's any level that that you're likely to lose on, this is definitely one of them. This is again until the master levels, I'd say this is the toughest.
11-2.
Yeah, there's some other ones still coming up as well, but
Yeah.
But,
they're pretty hard. But no,
definitely-
this one's very hard and very random.
yes, yeah.
That's the thing. Is it's like because at this point, you know, obviously, Britsha World Record holder, we're here in how much time? Like 40, something high 40, low 50 probably.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, it's 49.
Yeah,
right
49.
now, yeah.
To be
Yep,
this
right
far
around.
into the run and have this much randomness, right? It's so stressful.
Yeah.
Because it's like you can plan all you want, but it's down to just making it up on the spot almost with how, first off, like the level design, how much, again, we talked about how much randomness is just in the level design itself.
Ooh,
Whoa,
nice shot.
We
Britsha!
can see this
Wow.
one is going
That's a great
far
shot.
better.
Right there.
Yeah.
And now off the wall here is going to make that one easy to line up.
Beautiful.
And now we're on to the 11th character of the game, whereas Peggle Deluxe only has 10 characters and 55 levels. This game adds an extra 5 levels with a new master for them. Which
Yep,
is
and she's
Also
one of the
better
best,
ones
Marina
for any
Squid.
Exactly,
Yeah.
Marina the Squid, who is, well, we'll see her ability in just a moment. Britsha, this is another case where her ability is definitely good, especially on this level, if you can leave it till you have the multiplier up, and we will see why in just a moment, I imagine. Although this is going actually pretty well even without
I
it.
play this level a little
Yeah, I
bit.
think we can go
more
greenless
risky.
here.
It
Hold on.
depends. It depends on how you want to play.
Yeah.
Yeah. For sure.
Are you
Yeah, we'll see
trying?
your
Have to
power
try.
here in just a sec.
Okay, good. Yep, gotta show it off.
That was-
And there we go.
There we go.
And you can see
So it's
how
the first peg you hit to default.
exactly it creates an
It
arc of
actually
lightning.
shows you the path. Like the pegs that you're gonna cover
Yeah.
are light up. I didn't even realize this for like the longest time.
You never did, Helios?
Nope. I played the last.
And
Going for it, winging it. Yeah.
Fine.
Too deluxe pilled for that. Deluxe range.
And this level is kind of a little infamous because sometimes you can accidentally get the ball stuck in that loop there.
I actually attempted
and-
to, but I
Water
missed
break.
it. So
Yeah, I
I
noticed
I wanted a water break.
Yeah, we call it the water break, and Deluxe also has one on 4-2 in
Yeah,
that game.
because
But
it wastes what, like 30 seconds at best, just if you get stuck in there.
yeah, it
So it's
basically
great for other categories where you're trying to full clear the level, but for
Yeah.
obviously if you're trying to beat the level as fast as possible. This also has the most pegs in a nice level, right? If I remember.
Yes.
think
yes,
so.
it does.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
It
another
is
thing, is like-
crowded.
Yeah.
It's
The
very
number of pegs changes, although the number of orange pegs doesn't. So on a level like this, actually, just a lot of the later ones, you have a lot more just not junk, but just a lot of stuff in the way. I guess it is kind of blocking
And then
you
Britsha
from.
probably doesn't do my strat here, but I did. Yeah, Britsha does their own, but I developed a strat for this one for Flame Fatales 2023.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or
this
just
game
gotta
has been
close
shown
your
off
eyes
at a
and try it.
Fatales, but it's never been shown off at a mainline GDQ. So
Mhm.
that is one reason we want to see it. It would be so cool.
And this,
But this is
yeah.
one of the best
You
levels
try
in the
to get
game.
into
Very,
those.
Yep.
yeah.
And in this case, Britsha doesn't need to on the left
Nice.
side at all because there's so
But
few there.
they did by
Kinda-
accident because
yeah.
they're Britsha. It doesn't matter.
It just
It's
happens.
just
Exactly.
that good.
And
Well,
yeah,
is it world
this is
record holder or something?
this is a level that can be tricky. And other times it works out like this, where you just completely shred it.
Yeah, if you can get this strategy, this is one of maybe not the easiest, but it's probably one of the most fun levels. It's very satisfying
Yeah,
when you get
I
all the lights and the free balls popping up. You're like, what? It's such a change from the past several levels where it's been like such a slog. This is like, oh look, I actually can like beat this level.
Okay.
Before we go into the last 7.
And The next one, well, again, at this point, all the levels are very tricky.
Yeah,
but,
pretty close. Could have if they wanted to.
Yeah. Yeah, and this is this one has a lot of buried pegs lots of the time, which you
crowded.
Yeah, very crowded level, lots of buried pegs, but Marina's ability probably makes it not too bad. So. Okay. And let's see
So we got that ace score like mid-run on that last one.
Yeah, and maybe we should mention just kind of what ace scoring is. It's just like a score target that the game gives you. It's new to Knights, doesn't exist in Deluxe. And it's relevant in a couple of categories, but
yeah, it's
but not this one.
It's specifically it's generally since we don't really care about score, we just care about reaching the credits at any percent, right? Then yeah, it's not a thing that we really need to worry about here. But there are other runs. For anyone who does like Peggle, I always try to recommend that they check out, if they like playing casually, they like the kind of points aspect. There are definitely runs that incorporate that. The like 100% type runs basically require getting good at just getting points because a lot of them have challenges and ace scores and stuff where you need to do that. So, yeah.
That's why I'm bad at them. So it's cool that there's again, Peggle not being designed as a speedrun game, there's a lot of different categories for you to play. You don't just have to play like any percent. You don't just have to play through the levels with the master you want. Like there's different styles of gameplay. Like Approach was talking about, like the Grandmaster runs where you just complete the whole game, all the challenges, everything. Go for the ace scores in every level, in any order, right? You can do whatever you want in this game, and there's probably a speedrun category for it. So it's very open to different styles of gameplay. If you don't like to fully speedrun like at this level, there's probably something for you still. Even this is a casual game, and it's only what, like $5 on Steam when it's not on sale.
Yeah, it's easy to get into. It's very low barrier for entry.
I'm actually hosting an event right now that specifically bans all of the fancy strats that we use. Sometimes you might just look into that.
It's like booting it up for the first time.
Britsha is absolutely shredding this level, and we'll be moving on to the master levels. So we've had 11 characters.
Coin, by the way.
Finally, that coin. Yeah, if you don't hit a peg on a shot, the game will just flip a coin for you, literally, to determine whether you get the shot back or not. It is more likely that you get the shot back, but we don't know.
It's not a pure 50.
You sure about that? I don't see it. Doesn't seem to happen to me very often. I don't know.
So, real quick, the master levels.
This is an insane generation, by the way. Look at this.
Wow.
So we've had 11 sets of levels, and the last set of 5 levels, we had 5 with 11 characters. The last set of 5 levels, you can use any of the masters that you've unlocked over the course of the game, right? And that's the thing with any percent is that, each of the characters we've been introduced to played through their own specific levels, but now Britsha has freedom to choose any character he wants, and he's using Cinder here, which I know.
Same, like, 2.
I know that Cinder is not always necessarily the one that Britsha uses here. But,
no, I do always use Cinder.
Okay.
Yeah, no, Cinder.
I use Block for the for clearing it.
Okay, and then for most of the rest of the levels here, Tula is going to be what we see from
here's some pixel shot openers. Once again,
these are really sick shots to get these slides. Look at that. And Britsha is actually a little bit of an outlier when it comes to this level in particular. Most people end up using Marina because you can get these like kind of diagonal lines that just clear a lot of the stuff. Britsha chooses to use Tula. And so it's kind of a one where Britsha's preference about which character he uses here ends up being a little different than the kind of the general meta, I guess you could say, of the community. But Tula,
that
absolutely,
was a rough green.
Yeah,
it was
Tula is
definitely.
But
you had to hit it early.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was unfortunate, but making it through okay.
Mm-hmm.
No big deal.
Weird
these
angles.
bumpers here are the reason.
Hey, there we go.
Okay, let's go.
It's hard.
That most people use Marina, and you can see some more barriers here in the form of these pink little lines here. The verticality of this level usually also leads to a Marina use, but again, Britsha likes.
And
also the background art in the Masters. So
yeah.
I use this one as my stream background.
Yeah, it's really nice. I will say that. I think, maybe I'm projecting a little bit, but no, I think part of the reason that Britsha does like using Tula is because both him and I a while back grinded a lot of Tula percent. We became both very proficient. Like I myself became pretty decent with her, but Britsha blows me away with how good he is with Tula. So it's kind of a lot of times I think
Two
you know
different
there's
called
definitely
oranges. Nothing for if you can hit the green, that's the problem. He's blocking.
there you go,
Easy.
yeah.
That's why Tula's fantastic.
But Britsha
No, Tula is a very, very valid choice for all of
Exactly,
these levels,
yeah.
and for pretty much every level, except for ones with like an extreme amount of clumped up pegs, like we saw in this first level of this sequence. You know, Tula's pretty much just fine in any of them.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Speaking of strats, one of the most strategized levels in Knights, I think.
Yeah, I think it
Both
probably
as a
is.
meme and for real.
Yeah.
Yeah, but a lot of these objects in this level are actually blockers, which is why it's harder than it looks.
Exactly,
That middle circle and those two circles on the edges are actually blockers. But luckily, Britsha doesn't have any more below the golden blocker anymore.
Yeah, this is a
Exactly,
fantastic
yeah, that's-
Make it much, much easier.
That's one of the main things you gotta watch out for. And there were a couple, but when he popped the first green with Tula, then it cleared them out of the way. So, still a little dicey here, but let's see.
Yeah, just got too many pegs to, you know, clear out.
So this is a good example of free balling, right? Ooh, nice,
Whoa,
okay. And he only needs to hit one
excellent.
more. And now as long as he can hit the green...
Oh,
okay!
Ah!
Or he doesn't need to.
Oh my goodness!
Right.
Oh my
Oh
jeez.
fucking man!
Like
Oh,
it's nothing.
that
I think the
was
bucket
ludicrous.
deserves a shout
That
out.
was really great.
At the end of
Yeah,
this run, we've
shout
gotten a
out
lot
to
of these pickup
Buns.
buckets.
Yeah, and the at this point, and like this is again we've had just 2 losses, right? We had one early, and then we had one to 10-5, and this is a
Yeah, that's it.
we're on pace here, and this level is going pretty well so far. That this is going to be barely missing the hour mark, and again, Britsha's
Which is,
one
again,
of
very good.
yes,
very,
yeah,
very good.
Britsha's one of a few people who's ever gotten sub hour in this category, and he can do it pretty consistently now. So yeah, and that's
Doing it in a live run is absurd.
yeah.
Yeah.
The amount
that's
of runs that
crazy.
just die to like the for like 1-1 not going well. It's like, oh, this is bad. This took too long. I'm gonna reset. No, not a lot of
Oh.
runs
Oh,
make it
no
this
ball.
far.
That was a little unlucky, but he gets a free ball
As we
there.
were talking about earlier. Let's see.
Yeah,
Oh,
Shadow Shine is a
Oh.
pickle
okay.
beast right at the end.
And there you
Yeah,
go.
so-
And this is the final level of the run. If you've been counting 60 levels, that's it.
The sun has risen
GG's.
on Peggle Knights. GG.
Hey.
That was good.
Also, Marina's dream was to be a Peggle master. And there she is. And now we are
Oh.
too. Woo, we're a master of Peggle. Yay.
So yeah, this is a great showcase how we're like even with a couple losses, that was still a very competitive time. Again, that still beats
What, that's
Best.
that still beats all of us.
That's still
commentators'
top
time.
5. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
that beats all of us. Yep.
Yeah. I guess Britsha,
Wow.
do you have parting
Brian
words?
Oh, yeah, it was a great run, and I really hope that you'll consider it. We'd love to share it. And the joy of Peggle.
Shout out Deluxe last 2 at Shock Knights this time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great game. It's got the same fundamental stuff that made the gameplay so fun at the SGDQ run. Everybody got super into it, but it's got more. It's got another master. It's got even harder levels. It's got even more levels. But it might still have Britsha, which is how we want.
Hey,
See you
shout out
later,
to
GDQ.
Beethoven.
Thank you for watching.
Ciao to Beethoven.
It's so